Thanks again, Chairman. To David and Kristen, thank you so much for your testimony today. And I know that the hearts of many Rhode Islanders goes out to you and your industry, and they are very fully aware that you are a big part of the backbone of Rhode Island's economy. So my question is about, obviously, your industry supports other industries, right? And the food chain supply is one of them. And I've seen reports of destroying livestock, destroying produce. Do you foresee issues when we do try and come back to some type of normalcy? Do you foresee supply issues?
I don't think we're going to see a supply issue. I think things are quieting down a little bit. For instance, I was just telling her that my roast beef prices actually have dropped this week, which was great. My ribeye, which I use a ton of ribeye, is still through the roof. That's more than doubled. Lobster prices have actually come down. So I think hopefully things start to come down a little bit. I mean, hamburg prices are through the roof. But I think, so they explained it to me like this with the cattle, right? So when they bring the cattle to slaughter, there's a process of they stop feeding them. They basically put them on a liquid diet all the way until that slaughter. And then this is what spiked beef prices. And then when they got there and they couldn't slaughter them, they had to bring them back and refeed them to get them back healthy again. So this took like maybe a 6-week period. And that's what messed up the beef cycle as far as high prices. But ribeye is still up. But they explained that whole situation to me actually 2 weeks ago. So, but I'm hoping and praying that the prices at least stay stable. I've had to raise my prices at the restaurant on roast beef and steak because of it. My customers totally expected it, and they understand. But now I'm dropping them right back to where I was before.
Great, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great news. So no supply issues as of yet. Yep.
We haven't had any supply issues either, actually. I think we're maybe fortunate in the sense that we're small. I think a lot of the big supermarkets and big chain restaurants are probably experiencing that. But here, we haven't experienced that at all, actually. We've been very lucky that way.
Excellent.
And we've been communicating with our supply chain. We've been talking to all of our vendors, you know, from the farms to the fisheries, everyone. We touch a lot of industries. And it's interesting that they call us because they want to make sure that whatever we're doing and supporting what we're doing to keep the restaurant and hotel industry alive, because it affects their livelihood as well. So we're in touch with a lot of our suppliers. They're very supportive. They talk to us. I also meet with my counterparts around the country twice a week, virtually, and there is supply chain issues in the middle of the country, and especially in the cattle states. And so, but we haven't seen it to that degree here. There was a time when the big food suppliers, the Cisco's and the U.S. Foods and the PFG, I could list them all, they had nobody to sell to, so they changed their business model to start selling to the supermarkets. Then I had the restaurants start to become grocers. You know, we started turning around the restaurant so we could make some money there. So it's just been an interesting, I call it a puzzle, you know, and every time we put that piece of the puzzle in and we walk away and we come back and it popped up because something else changed. That's where we're in right now. But the supply chain is critical. We're very lucky in the Northeast that we're not suffering as much as other parts of the country are. But we do communicate with them, so thank you for asking that. It's critical.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, I'd like to ask you, because I've gotten my share of calls and emails from restaurant owners, and I have to say they're not anywhere near as patient as these folks. I can't even repeat a lot of what's being said to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question is, you have a pretty big organization. Do you have how many members are coming to you saying that, you know, the cure has become worse than the disease, and things should be opening up, period?
Well, we have a lot. of
Okay.
those. We do get a lot of those conversations. And Sarah, you saw the emotion in both of us when we get those calls about what's happening in the world. And I started out with, I'm not an epidemiologist. I don't know what's right, at what point. There's a trust factor here that we're doing the right thing and ahead of the curve from everyone else because we closed down. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know where that tipping point is. I see that we're ahead of everybody else opening up. We're 3 weeks ahead of one state, 2 weeks ahead of another. And I'm just hoping that, I understand that phase 3 is about to be announced next week, that's going to push us even further to open up even more. But you've got this fine line.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, but I didn't mean to put you on any type of, on the spot for information on when things should be done or anything like that. But I just kind of wanted to get the sense because what I'm hearing is not what I'm getting, and I just wanted to see if you were also getting the anger.
Frustration. I've had people come into my office, close my door, and break down in tears.
Yeah.
I know, yes. I mean, we're hearing what we've been. I think if we had this meeting even 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, we would have had different stories here. We seem to be coming out of it a little bit. There's a little hope out there. I can't begin to tell you that what I go home with, Sarah goes home with, my team goes home with, and it's not our business, but what we hear. So yes, sir, we hear it every minute of every day, and it makes us get up earlier in the morning and fight harder to get things moving faster. And it goes back to, if I can wrap it all around, is just even some help, some financial help to even the retrofitting or even paying the rent or whatever it is. David said he's lucky he owns his buildings. Not everybody does in this industry. There's this, it's incremental help. Sometimes the help is just a little bit. At the very beginning, I went to Commerce and they came up with $5,000 loans within 2 days. And that money went away pretty quickly. Just $5,000. It was a loan. We're not looking for loans right now. We need grants. We need that extra, just that helping hand to move up. But I do hear it. I hear it regularly, and I feel it, and I understand it.
Okay. And on behalf of at least one of my constituents, I guess I'll just mention he feels that there is a heavy-handedness with the health department coming in and almost a weaponization against him. They're checking out on, according to him, false reports, and these are things that certainly cannot help businesses, restaurants. So, have you got any reports of stuff like that? Heavy-handedness from people coming in with their clipboards.
So Department of Health inspectors? Go ahead.
I can tell. We get that pretty regularly, even in pre-COVID time. Whether or not it's true or not, I can't tell you. I don't know the restaurant. I don't know the case. As we look through the recovery process, there is a pretty significant balance between our need to reopen, the very real public health situation, but then also consumer confidence. And we look at other states. Florida basically was like, whatever, we're just going to reopen. Doesn't matter. We could open at 100% capacity tomorrow. You won't get the customers in. And so it's that balance of ensuring that people feel safe, that it's safe to go out to eat. And we had this conversation as we started negotiating what the reopening was going to look like. There is a power in the governor saying it is safe to go out to eat. I am going out to eat. I'm taking my kids out to eat. That's how much I believe it's safe. The director of the Department of Health also said that. That's a really important thing for us to say to our customers. As much as we want to reopen, and we had people from the day we got shut down saying, open us tomorrow, we're fine. It's that balance. In terms of enforcement, there's always that struggle between what's fair enforcement and what isn't. Is someone complaining to a state agency real or not? That happens. People will make false claims to the Department of Health about food safety sometimes. And, I wish we had a perfect answer to that. We'll never have a perfect answer to that. you know, if there is a specific issue, certainly they can reach out to us, and we can't necessarily intervene in their case, but we can try to put some context to that. So feel free to refer them to us on that issue. But there is a very real balancing act, and Dale mentions this all the time. We don't have a playbook for what we're doing right now. We're all kind of making it up as we go. And so there's going to be some missteps, and there's going to be some readjustments made to the rules, and we're having that conversation now about when you're coming up with rules, saying, all right, we think this is how it's going to work, and then you actually are getting into implementing those rules. Sometimes you need to tweak them a little bit, and we're having that conversation now, and that will probably continue for the next, you know, however long this goes. But certainly if someone feels that they're having a specific challenge, feel free to refer them to us. And like I said, we can't intervene in their direct case because we don't represent people in that way, but we can certainly try to figure out at least a little bit about what's going on.
Okay. Are you folks familiar with the 200 restaurants that signed a petition demanding that the state opens up? Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Are they? You are familiar with them. Are you?
I saw the letter, yes.
Are you folks? Are those any of those members of your organization?
Very few.
Okay, but they could be. Okay. Thank you.